Dear participants, let's wait for a couple more minutes. Our speaker is joining with us within a short span.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Your voice is clear to you. I'm the host for this session, Guru Sathyan. Good evening, all. Good evening, ma'am. So, I welcome you all to the 9th session of the one-week faculty development program on the outcome-based education organized by Institute for Engineering Research and Publication in association with United Innovators, Asia Pacific Association for Dental and Oral Health, Krishna Institute of Dental Sciences, and New Horizon College of Engineering. So, about IFERP, Institute for Engineering Research and Publication is on its way to digitalize the innovation process through our professional networking services and thus providing an integrated virtual scientific community, mutual engagement, exploring potential of researchers, creating a cooperative and collaborative academic environment. And also about our research partner, United Innovator. United Innovator is a research and development service provider providing all the end-to-end services such as thesis writing, research writing assistance in the Scopus, SCI, Web of Science, Journal and Publications. And also, our academic partners are Krishna Institute of Dental Sciences, New Horizon College of Engineering, are the two major organizers for this faculty development program. And coming back to the benefits and of the outcome-based education. Outcome-based education brings clarity among the students and teachers. Every student has the flexibility and freedom of learning in their ways. There is more than one method of learning and also reduces comparison among the students and everyone has a different target. Completely involves students taking responsibility for their goals. Now, coming back to the session, I'm inviting our speaker of the session, Professor Dr. Sayalee Gankar, to take the spotlight. I would like to give an official introduction about her expertise. Professor Dr. Sayalee Gankar has 29 years of experience in academics and industry. She has experience as a dean, management, dean of academics, and director of 2 business schools at MIT Pune. She is a research guide on 8 research students have completed doctoral program under her guidance. Worked as a board of studies chairman and member of Savitribai Phule University, Pune. Her areas of expertise are in academic leadership, specializing areas of strategic planning, institution building, academic programming, and planning and development policies and procedures, syllabus framework, research, consultancy, industry collaboration, rankings, and accreditation. She has delivered plenary academic and research sessions at Paris, Poland, Dubai, Bhutan, and over 45 research publications at national and international level or at her credit. And also, she have received a lot more awards such as APJ Kalam Leadership Award by Fuel, Dronacharya Award for Outsourcing, Outstanding Contribution to Education at the HR Club. So I'm going to welcome Professor Dr. Sayalee Gankar to deliver her keynote address to the participants.
Good evening to all of you. Thank you so much for inviting me as a speaker for this faculty development program. I think this is one of the best part of it for all the teachers, that the time has come where we need to change our complete the pedagogy in terms of imparting the education to all the students, and I think it's really a great effort what you all are doing, because IFERP is doing a great job, especially for the engineering education in terms of research and publication, and of course, faculty development. I think everyone has realized it from the last couple of years, that how we are approaching towards our own education system and of course the approaches. So let me talk to you. What do you mean by outcome-based education? I don't want to define it, but I'm sure that lots of discussion must have been done in the earlier sessions. But then I would like to put up certain points which will help all of us to have a thought that how we all can really change the education in India. We know it very well that the National Education Policy 2020 has taken great amount of effort to change our approaches in class. So when I feel, that's what I feel, I would like to give certain focus on three important pillars of our excellence, which we would like to earn in our teaching. And therefore, few thoughts which I would be sharing with all of you is, one is the strategic plan for learning and teaching, which we would like to do it, and then how achieving a good education. So let's understand it and how we can really map all our activities for the next 5 years. So when I'm talking about this, I would be focusing on three important pillars which are interwoven and are very important. One, of course, excellence in teaching, right? Excellence in learning and excellence in curriculum. I think that's what we need to really focus on. Because when we talk about outcome-based education, it means other activities which we always talk about, could be your MOUs, could be
Doctor, sorry for interrupting you in the middle.
The kind of
You're facing a little bit network issue from your side.
The role of industry partners which comes to our campuses and impart their the technical education to a student plays an important role. But all this Can you hear me?
Professor, sorry for interrupting you and muting you again and again. Your voice is a little bit low and seems like you are facing a network issue over there. Kindly check
One
your
second.
network.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Can
Your
you
voice
hear
is
me
clear.
now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So is it clear now? Can I speak? Can I continue?
Sure, ma'am. Now you can, ma'am. Now it's clear.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. So I was talking about the almost a few minutes I would be spending on that how we can have the focus on strategic plan for learning and teaching, which is required to be set in our universities as a strategic approach to the core of our business education, right? And therefore, I think the next 5 years are very important to all of us. And I would like to emphasize on three important pillars in the campus. One, of course, the excellence in learning, excellence in teaching, and excellence in curriculum. We know it very well. It builds a strong tradition in our campuses of high quality learning and teaching, which is to be recognized by our students and our peers. And therefore, for the 21st century, we need to focus on these important areas. So when we talk about preparing a plan, so what does it mean? So it means that we need to respond to the various challenges which are coming from international market and of course at national and local context that we need to understand. And based on that, we need to work on in designing our curriculum, which can really help us to have an outcome-based education. So when we are talking about it, what is it? What does it mean? It means that we need to take the responsibility, right? That how we can have the participation at large and where we can develop educated and skilled population to enhance the economic, social, health outcome of every individual, local place, and of course, district and even at state level. And therefore, while doing all this in strategic approaches, we need to ensure that the community, industry, and government, we always are talking about ecosystem. So when we are talking about creation of ecosystem, it means that we need to really connect very well our own institution with the various stakeholders which work from our organization. So when we talk about curriculum, in this case, then I think what is required is that we need to plan, we need to deliver, and we need to review constantly our own curriculum. We know it very well. While doing this, right, in our ecosystem, we also have the competitors. We also have the various platforms, those who have introduced wonderful programs, skill-based programs to the complete consumer or a customer of it as an education in India. So we know these names very well, right? Not only with the government, because UGC have flashed, UGC have already initiated, already promoted certain platforms like like NPTEL, MOOCs, right? And Swayam, these are very popular ones, which are being used by all of us, that how we can take their help in our curriculum to have the extra credit to the students. So while doing this, I think we need to understand the role of other organizations, which are not educational institutions, but they have came forward, and these people have come as an industry, and they have created online learning platforms across the globe. And they are coming up with the renowned institutions, Ivy Leagues universities. Not only that, all accredited universities and institutions are the part of online education. So how are we going to really work on this? Can we come out with a product or a business, the model for our own education, which can really help us to give the outcome-based education, what we all are talking about? I've seen all these platforms, right? If we know the very popular names are there, including TCS, IBM, right? Dell, all these companies, along with Coursera, Simply Learn, right? Upgrad, many of such kind of institutions the industries have come as an institution online, and now they are spreading their wings. We know their limitations. We know what our students are looking for. But I think we need to understand that industry is changing, and therefore it's creating an impact on our curriculum or the degree programs. And therefore, we need to really work very hard in terms of I'm talking about curriculum, in terms of faculty development, and of course the delivery in the classroom. And therefore, in this strategic plan, I'm talking about that how we can respond to the National Education Policy 2020, also the NBA framework, which has been given as a ranking framework. We can say that NIRF, we go it every year. We know it very well that what are the higher education standard frameworks are really working on. And I think all these are required to be taken care when we talk about learning, teaching, and developing our own curriculum. So when we do this, what is required is that how can we have the external referencing? How can we have the benchmarking? How can we have the peer review, which will help us that how we can contribute in terms of enhancing our own practices, developing our own practices, and changing our own processes of learning and teaching in classrooms. And therefore, I think these are the things which we really need to understand so that we can have the outcome-based education. So what I'm talking about is, I hope you all are there with me. I can see that 29, the participants are there, right? So if you would like to ask any question, you can definitely send me a message, which I can definitely refer it and I can respond to it. I think someone has sent a message, but I'm not able to see that. But I think what I'm trying to make a point is that let's focus about that how we can do this very effectively. Because try to understand, plan or a framework is basically to be designed, developed by the academicians, because they know it very well that how they can implement it. So in this way, I think the faculty has to play an important role. They need to plan, they need to develop the various policies through which we can really work on these strategic pillars which I am talking about. So when we talk about it, I think what is required, right? So when we talk about any plan, what is required is that we need to have the vision, right? So what is our vision, or what is a vision to be set by every teacher for his own subject which he's teaching in class, is that how we can unlock the potential and transform the lives of individuals and communities at large in the organization. And therefore, I think this particular part is very important, which we need to understand. We need to train them, right, in plan, because outcome-based education always talk about certain important the criterias. And I think one is how they can apply, how they can really deal with the challenges, how they can respond to the challenges, and how they can really take the multidisciplinary knowledge and the skills. So when we are studying a particular subject, when we are delivering a particular subject in class, I think these parameters are required to be taken into the context. And therefore, the vision of your the organization, I'm talking about any institute, could be college, could be institute, could be department, or maybe the university, we need to focus on that. How can we really give the subject knowledge to the students? How can we help them to acquire the subject knowledge? How can we really give them the multidisciplinary knowledge and the skills which are required to work and in the working environment? I think these things are very important. And along with this, we as a teacher, because we are the one who are shaping the young minds, so we need to make them socially responsible citizens at local level, at national level, and at global level. So if we are able to focus on this, and I'm sure that we can give them a wonderful experiences in our own campuses. So when we talk about outcome-based education, it's not only the job, right? Of course, placement is important. Of course, becoming an entrepreneur is very important. But along with that, the third element, which is very important, that how can we make them a socially responsible citizen across the globe? And therefore, while teaching, while developing curriculum, while developing program structure, when we are talking about PEOs or the COs, I think that time we need to really work on these lines. We have to develop our own framework, which will help you to really guide you. You can take the student from one level to the next level. And for this, one has to really map his or her own activities for the degree which we are offering from our own campuses. And therefore, when we talk about that, when we are talking developing students, right, with the help of the various stakeholders, we as a teacher, we as a principal, we as a faculty, we need to make certain principles which will be the guiding light for all of us. And that will help us to have the outcome-based education. So the first thing what is required is that we need to keep in our mind that learning is the unique, not only the unique concept, but it is a central concept which should frame our teaching. And along with teaching, what is required is the assessment. I think this particular part is very important. The next part, so one is learning as a central concept, and it should give a framework for designing our own teaching and assessment criteria at our institutions. Second, that learning, when we are talking about, is the central concept. It means that, what does it mean? It means that learning is a student-centered and a social concept, which we have to keep it in mind. And along with that, because it recognizes 2-3 areas. One, that the students' engagement in the learning process is very important, and they have to learn on their own. That is very important. Second, there has to be the two-way interaction between the staff and the students. So if it is not happening, so as I said, when we talk about student-centered learning, it means that student engagement, it means that interaction, that if it is only one-way process, then it becomes very difficult for the learners to understand. I'm sure that you must have referred Bloom's taxonomy, and it's very popular. Everyone knows it, that how people retain or how students retain what we taught in our classes. And I think that's a very important part which we need to keep it in the mind. We need to have the two-way interactions between the staff, that is the teaching faculty, and the students. And of course, the efficiency or efficacy of our experiential based learning. And of course, along with that, because experiential learning brings participatory pedagogy. So unless and until I do myself, unless and until I'm a part of project, unless and until I'm a part of group activity, I won't learn. So even in engineering programs, right, when we talk about doing practicals, doing certain products development, or maybe developing prototype, I think it has to be a group project. And that is what is happening right now. So you have drone labs, you have robotics lab, you have AI labs, you have so many other activities, and through which students can come together. They learn from each other's experiences. They explore the various possibilities, opportunities, and that becomes the learning for the student. And student becomes the central part of, or a center of the learning process, what we are doing in our campuses. And therefore, student engagement, interaction with the student, along with that, giving them more experiences, more experiential based or on the job training, project based learning, simulation based learning, all these are very important, right? And those becomes the pedagogy for your the teacher while going in a class, and it should be the framework for your teaching processes or teaching plan, what you're talking about or you're designing before commencement of your academic session. So this is the second principle which I would like to talk about. That the first one I said that yes, of course, the learning is the central concept which we need to keep it in mind, because it helps us to create the frame. It is a frame which gives us that how we can really create the purposes of teaching and assessment at our campuses. Second, as I've said, that it should be student-centered and a social concept which should take care by the student, by the faculty, that student engagement, interaction, and experiential and pedagogies are very important in this. The next part which is very important is that we need to also support, because outcome-based education, I'm sure that you must have referred many documents which talks about what is outcome-based, because we are talking about developing a holistic personality from the educational campuses. And therefore, here when we talk about it is that the all educational, the aspirations which are there by all the sections of the society. So I'm not talking about only students. Parents have the expectations, industry have the expectations, government has the expectation, and then of course the students at the national and international level, they also have their own aspirations. So how are we going to deliver those aspirations should be the principle of your vision and mission, along with your strategic plan. The next part, which is very important, that how faculty, right, how institutions, colleges, they learn from the best practices. That's one of the important principle of any educational campus, right, and has to be there. So we are talking about learning from best practices. We need to have the commitment that we should improve continuously. So we should talk about continuous improvement, where the staff, right, try to understand when we're talking about learning from others' experiences, others' best practices, right, we are talking about continuous improvement. It means that we need to engage ourselves with the number of stakeholders. So could be industry. So we have to decide that how many faculties are going for internship in industry, how many faculties are really working hard to develop their own knowledge and skills so that they can bring those practices, that learning in classroom. So unless and until we do this, we cannot improve, we cannot make the changes what we intend to do it for outcome-based education. And this is one of the important principles which we need to understand, that we have to learn from each other's experiences. We need to get those experiences. We need to have the continuous improvement. The next part, which is very important, that teaching in campus, right? The teacher in campus, the faculty in campus are to be valued, recognized, rewarded, and their success is to be celebrated. So how do you respond? How do you create the culture in the campus? How your interpersonal relationships are? How do you really look at your teachers, right? And I'm not talking about student looking at the teacher. I'm talking about teachers looking at the other teacher, right? The administration staff looking at the teacher. I think that's very important. We need to value our teacher. We need to respect the other teacher who is part of our own group, so that we can celebrate, we can appreciate, and we can recognize their efforts, what they are doing in our campuses. This is the sixth principle which I would like to share with you. The next one is that we need to really understand that how the whole organization can give the commitment to give the best experience to the students in campus. So if we really focus on all these areas, I'm sure that we can do the wonders. So first I spoke about initial talk, that three important pillars I discussed it about: learning, teaching, and of course, I talked about the research which is required in the campus, right? So these three things are really important, which can help us to work effectively in terms of delivering the activities. Research in terms of curriculum designing, I'm talking about that, how can we do it? So we need to really, for all these activities, we need to have the collaboration, partnership with the students. We need to involve them in our learning processes, developing curriculum, taking decisions. So how many students are the part of your all activities are very important. Our staff is required to be engaged in the complete this process which I'm talking about. Various organizations, could be employers, those who coming to the campuses, major public, private, government organization. These are required to be partnered by the institution. We need to go for accreditation. We need to follow the statutory bodies, right? All this will help us to really define our own purpose of existence as educational institutions in the state or in the local area. Now, while talking about this, I think let me now talk about more into how can we do this, right? What kind of objectives one has to really set so that it will help you to improve these three core areas which we are talking about, right? So, of course, excellence in learning, excellence in teaching, and excellence in curriculum. So, for these three important areas, we need to also have certain the objectives. Right? So, how will you get the excellence in learning? So, as I've said that, of course, student engagement, student centering, student as a center, as a concept is required to be accepted. We need to give them a wonderful learning experience. We should give them student-centered learning infrastructure, right? What does it mean by student-centered learning infrastructure? It means that he should have the access to the technology, access to the resources which are there in the campus, right? So that will help you to really give them the best things. And second is that how can we retain them in classes by having a wonderful innovation strategies, right? So the pedagogy, I have already spoken to you that the pedagogy is very important, but along with that is that how can we give them the best experience so that they can be attending, they should attend the classes, they should be the part of all these activities which we are talking about. And of course, when we talk about excellence in teaching, I have a question to all of you, that how many of you collaborate together in your department or interdisciplinary department, right? So could be electrical engineering department is collaborating with mechanical, electrical is collaborating with computer department, and faculties are really moving from one department to other department to understand what my student is learning in class. And if this is happening, I think this will help you to improve the curriculum which we are talking about, right? So that's the third pillar which I'm talking about. So I think these collaborations are required for the teaching. We started with two teachers in class, right? So the students started enjoying that because industry expert and faculty from the campus, they started conducting the classes together, and that helps students to learn very extensively. So how can we empower our teaching processes, empower our teachers, empower the teachers which are there in class? How can we bring the researchers in class? And I think all this can really help. And all whatever I'm talking about is nothing but the innovative approaches which are required, or innovative practices which are required for one to create excellence in the teaching process. And then outcome is, of course, the research, then the consultancy, and then the teacher's professional development. I would like to ask you that how many of you have decided the target that every semester I'll have one certification, I'll have 2 research paper? You know, that has to be a mandate which has to be there with all the faculty members, so that what will happen, your reading, your practices, your experiences will make better a teacher to you, to yourself, and of course that delivery will enhance the learning processes in the campus. So when we do all this, the next part which is very important is that this all efforts, then if you have done your certification, I'm sure that so I'm sure that when you have this collaboration at every level, what will happen that you will have always a wonderful curriculum which is renewed, which is up to the expectation of industry. Always remember that whenever industry people, they come to the campuses, they say that there is a huge gap between what academia is delivering and what industry is expecting. And I think this is one of the things which we need to really understand, that we all can come together for developing our own curriculum. So the teachers, interdisciplinary teachers, the interdepartmental activities are very, very important, so that can help you to have the best curriculum. We need to really work on innovative new products and business methods, right? I don't know how many teachers, they do this in their own classes, that when I ask a question to my engineering faculty member, that which all other companies are there in artificial intelligence? How can you really take artificial intelligence for the mechanical, electrical, and the other specialization or the branches? Very few of them, they have that. They're good at their subject knowledge, but when it comes to the interdisciplinary, they are not able to give the answer, right? The reason is we lack collaboration in our own activities or the learning processes. And therefore, see to it that we can really work on developing these activities for our own betterment. If you become a wonderful teacher, I'm sure that the student will definitely follow you. And many of you must be having the experiences when the student get placed in the from the campuses or on their own, they come with a very big thank you kind of word, saying that, teacher, you taught me this in my class, and that helped me to really crack the interview. And I think that's the great moment for every teacher to celebrate, that I taught in my class and someone got benefited out of it. But for this, what is required is that the teacher has to be always get connected with the industry, so that you can understand the industry expectations, and based on that, you can make the changes in your delivery or assignment or assessment patterns in the campus. And I think these are the things which are very important, which we need to understand. So I don't want to go into detail. There are certain guidelines which are there for the various things, and which I follow at our campus. One is like, how can we have technology enhanced learning and teaching action plans, right? How we can really have the curriculum renewal white papers, right? I think those are very important to us. We need to have the quality statement. We need to have the teaching performance expectations framework. We need to have the retention and success strategy of the student, right? We need to have the assessment guide, that what best way we can assess the student. We know it very well. In our every class, we have A, B, C category student. So how are you going to assess them? How you will ensure that they'll come back to the classes? I think that's very important part. And there the teacher can play a major role. Can we develop the pre-degree framework for our own activities? Can we really work on incentivization to the student to the faculty? Can we have the grant schemes in the campus? So all this could be supported by the scholarship, could be supported by the incentives. We should get the funds from the industry so that our learning, our teaching, our delivery can definitely will be at the quality level in our campus. Along with this, what I always feel is that we also should have to have that. I always say that everyone in his session plan should have that what student experience strategy you would like to write it for your own session plan or subject plan or for the program or a course which you have designed for 2 years, 4 years or 5-year program. I think that's very important. We need to also work on high achievers strategy. There are students in classes, right, with whom teacher can have a partnership in terms of writing research paper, doing project work, or maybe working in industry together for internship with him as an internal guide. And I think that's such kind of, I'm doing a wonderful program with MDocs now, where we are going to train our faculty from MDocs, especially in innovation, right? And I think these faculties are going to stay there. They are going to work with MDocs very closely so that they will feel that how the organization works, what kind of expectations they have, what practices they have. So high achievers we need to create from our classes, that I need to go to that level. And I think such kind of efforts can definitely help us. We need to also have the library ka vision also, right? How many organizations in terms of department and of course librarians, they visualize or they have the vision for next 5 years that my library should be like this. Because try to understand learning and teaching is completely supported by the librarian or the library resources which are available. So how many of us we are using? How many of you have asked yourself a question that this time I'll use the new book or the new publication or a new the publication, the house which has come up with the new edition? I think that's very important. So library, its vision is also important when we talk about strategic plan for our teaching processes. I think these are the things which are very important. There are many other things which I would like to cover it, but I would like to ask you I would like to understand, because 1 hour is really a very the less time for me to explain, because it's a huge process which I have set up for my own university, where we are trying to give them these are the 3 important pillars which we have identified, and we are working on that very, very extensively. So trying to make a point that how can we really use it for our outcome-based education. Not only the rank, it will help to the ranking and other things, but I think those things will come in place automatically. What will happen because of these approaches, the student will be very happy and he will be placed in a good companies, and he will always thank the alma mater as an educational institution, and they would like to come back to you to share to their own experiences to the next batches. I think this should be the target. This should be the approach what we need to really work on. So I think if you have questions, I would like to answer those because I think the time is, I think I have only 3-4 minutes now to close my session. So if you have any questions, I would like to answer those. Yeah, maybe you can unmute yourself and you can ask this question. If you all are, we can see each other. Can we see each other? Hello, Karthik, are you there?
Participants, please feel free to reach us. If you have any queries, the platform is free for all. Just post your query in the chat box or unmute yourself and ask your queries.
I think.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
I'm Suchitra. I'm from Andhra University, Visakhapatnam.
Okay. Hi, Suchitra.
Hello, ma'am. It was a very nice lecture, and your words were very inspiring for someone, a newbie like me. So I would like to ask you, what's the best practice to keep the students, interested in participating more and more and interacting more and more with the staff, because in many private colleges, the students just feel this barrier that is holding them behind, from making an effective interaction with the staff about whatever they feel. How do you think that we should overcome that?
I think I'm sure that Suchitra, we know it very well that what are the expectations of our students, right? Because now the students' perception and approaches to the study is being changed very enormously, right? And for that, I think teacher has to become more as a facilitator. They need to explore the best practices in terms of how can they engage a student through the activities or the projects, and that's the best way to do it, right? Give them exposure to more to the industry, give them lots of projects, use extensive use of your virtual platforms which are available now, and I think that will help you to increase the engagement of the students in classes.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So my doubt is a little bit regarding the pandemic, because during the pandemic the children have just withdrawn themselves into this kind of shell where they are not exactly, they are not exactly expressing themselves out loud. And even when we are sending them to, like I'm a chemical engineering, and even when we are sending them to industries to work on some minor projects, they are like, they just go there, enjoy a little bit, and then come back without, because the pandemic has affected them so much.
Very true.
I just wanted to ask you how to bring back that spark. It's been 3 years since the pandemic, and we are still facing this problem that there is a spark missing in the students.
Well, actually, what has happened, the 2 years which we have really lost, has disconnected all the students, and not only students, even employees across the globe, right? That the kind of passion which was there has gone. So I think what is required is that bringing them back in classes, right? In terms of making their assignments little tough, right? Making them again disciplinary oriented. Unless you do the discipline, it won't be possible, right? And for making them disciplined, first what is required is that the teacher has to be very disciplined. If you are in time in your class 2 minutes, then students will start coming. So see to it that I would like to share one thing, that my students are now doing their programs at international level. So what we have done, we created a wonderful diary, learning diary. We ask them to write every day that what they are learning in their industries, and that is helping them, because once they get over the day, at the end of the day, they need to write that what they learned from their own supervisors or maybe from their managers, and that is really helping them. And we are asking managers also to sign it. So what has happened? Managers are also controlling them. They are also knowing that they have to write this and will be assessed by the teachers or the campuses. So that kind of interaction and collaboration, we are ensuring it. The small baby steps which we have taken. I'm totally agree with you. The students have lost the interest. We started with the new activities. Like recently we said that, okay, fine, these kids, they would like to have their videos. So we hired a video camera, right? And we said that give a presentation in front of the camera, right? We would like to have an activity where you can show your projects, right? Make it workable, give the demonstration, and the students started working on it. So I think we need to understand the pulse of our students to make the innovation in our own approaches, and that will help us to bring them back in campus or maybe wherever they are working at the industry. I hope I answered.
That's excellent suggestion, ma'am. I mean, I just had the idea that maybe we can use the social media to, get them into this. And yes, a journal would definitely help. So thank you very much, ma'am. Yours was a very inspiring talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Deepali Sharma has asked a question that how can we promote the student who are average in the class with the good performance. I think again, as I've said, that team teaching, or maybe I can say that see to it that the class size, if you have a 60 students and out of 60 students, if you have 10 students, those are really good, make them the leaders, right, of your group activity. And that will help you to bring them into the mainstream. That will help them to learn from their students. Try to understand one thing, the students quickly learn from their own batchmates. So we started one activity that the student who is really good in the class, we asked him to take certain classes. So what happens, when they teach their own batchmates, that one, they get prepared. Number two, they know that what difficulties they have faced while learning that concept. And that team learning in class happens effectively. So try to do that and see to it that average student is also competing, learning, again, rewarded, appreciated, right? So that he can be also grow in terms of skills and knowledge in the class. But again, see to it that you have a role model from his own class and who can motivate him. Or you can have someone senior coming from the senior, maybe fourth year B student coming in third year class, or going in second year class, or maybe going in first year class and teaching them. I think that will be the best way to do it. And that can help. And teacher has to constantly monitor that how the students are learning, what can be changes we can do it.
Ma'am,
thank you.
Just a small doubt, ma'am. Do you have any social media presence, like a YouTube channel link or something? Because the way you speak and the way you explain, it would be very effective. No, I mean, you should really start it, because I guess you'll be having lots of viewers, especially the teachers. They need a lot of guidance post-pandemic situation. So just a small suggestion.
I think on LinkedIn, there are so many nice bloggers, and even people are there. Those who are writing their own blogs or their own experiences. I'm also on LinkedIn, and I'm following many of them, and that helps me a lot to update myself. Though sometimes I also write on that, but not in a big way, but then I don't have the YouTube channel. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate what you have said. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think, thank you, Deepali. Thank you so very much. Yeah, for you're so kind to use this, give me the feedback. I'm so thankful to you. Thank you so much, Rajiv. Yeah, I think we all can be there on LinkedIn. You can see me there, and we can be together there. So thank you so very much. Can we sign off now, Karthik?
Yes, ma'am.
We can sign off.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your wonderful session, ma'am. I believe this session was FDP was informative for all.
Thank you.
And the next section of the outcome-based education will be on tomorrow at 11 a.m. And on behalf of IFERP, I heartily thank all professors, academicians, and delegates who have joined us today. I would like to extend my gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Professor Dr. Sayalee Gankar, for delivering her keynote address. I'm very thankful, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All the best to all of you. Keep teaching, keep taking care of everyone. Spread the happiness. Thank you.